Hi everyone, my name's Ash. Am I shouting? Is it too loud? No. My name's Ash, I'm from Chainlink Labs. Today we have actually a very cool panel in front of us. The questions we are asking or looking to answer, these are the people solving it in crypto. So without further ado, could each one of the panelists introduce yourself and your project?
So I'll go first. I'm Nisita from Eliza Labs, which is Eliza OS. We're probably one of the most popular open source AI agent frameworks out there. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the echo. That's okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. So great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm David, co-contributor to Olas. Been building agents since 2019. And at Olas, we give you agents that you can truly own. And we have a marketplace for agents where agents have made over 5 million agent-to-agent transactions already.
Hi, everybody. I'm Salman Avestimehr. I'm co-founder of ChainOpera. I'm also a professor at USC. At ChainOpera, we build a decentralized infra for agents. You can think about it as a super agent where the agents could be monetized and collaborate there for users to run exciting applications. This agent system or super agent, which is an app, we released it about 2 months ago and currently has 200K daily active users who pay for the services and get utility.
My name is Renç. I'm the CEO of Giza. At Giza, we create intelligent autonomous markets. We have also built the first financial autonomous agent in Web3 that has moved close to $200 million in volume today. And super excited to talk to you about what that looks like, how we will make it happen, and all of the challenges that we are facing ahead.
Hey everyone, Federico, I'm from New York, and I organize the AI NYC. Is the volume good? I organize the AI NYC, which is a community of engineers, researchers, and founders. A lot of people from OpenAI, Anthropic, and other from that come to the events. We run it as a Socratic. So imagine a room like this where everyone contributes to the conversation. Super fun. And I'm the founder of Flow AI, and we build the AI teams for zero-employee companies. And we integrated MCP recently, and so excited to talk about it.
Cool. Thank you, guys. I think to kick things off, it'll be interesting to know from each one of your perspectives, what is required for agents to actually transact on chain? Should they have their own wallet? Should they access other users' wallets? Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I can kick things off. Well, the most important problem that we need to solve is actual agents like managing capital, not losing capital, being able to do it in a safe and trust minimized manner. This question that you asked, Ash, about whether the agents should have their own wallet or the users should have their own wallet, we have actually came up with an architecture that takes this from a binary option to a complete option. And the solution that we proposed, and it's in production right now, is the user has a wallet that they have full custody over, and they delegate a portion of their capital for the agent to manage via a specific contract that dictates what an agent should be exactly doing. So it is, in a way, a boundary created by the user, and the agent is free to roam in that boundaries in a fully autonomous manner. So, and we think this is the magic sauce for it, where the user has the wallet, full custody, and the agent is operating with a predefined space that is 100% safe and 100% controlled.
I saw you pick up the mic, so.
Yeah, happy to say something. I think the question is interesting because really, once you give the wallet to your agent, it's your agent's wallet. It's no longer the user's wallet because the agent is faster than you. And so unless you have some kind of guardrails in the first place, it's no longer your wallet. So that kind of gets to the technical part, which I think we just heard one way of solving this. I think you always need some sort of separation between what the user can control and what the agent can control. If you really want to do it in one wallet, then you need to maybe constrain the agent's action space with things like guards or transaction guards and something like the safe, for instance, or there's like lots of technical implementation. Lib protocol has some others. Or you just segregate them fully. That's what we do at Olas, and then you can still do the same, but it's a cleaner design. I would never meddle those two.
Could you, go on, Doctor.
Yeah, maybe I just add, I think you need both in the sense that, and that's where the user could decide which direction they want to go. For example, some scenarios, let's say you want to build automated trading, there is no way to connect your own wallet because, I mean, all of this is going to be automated trading with some potential mistakes, etc. Right? So you rather have a fixed money on the agent for the agent to control it and decide whatever it wants to do. But if you want to do portfolio optimization, then you need to connect, your own wallet and let the agent decide on your behalf. So I think a little bit of it is going to be depending on different people also have different toleration of risk, right? So it's kind of, we want to be end user driven and give the capability.
Makes sense.
Yeah, just to add to that, pretty much repeating what these guys said, to be honest. It is very use case dependent, I think. If you really want your agent to do transactions, then you probably want to be able to air gap between your own wallet and another wallet that the agent has complete control over, and having more guardrails around what are executable versus not, or if you want to have a human in the loop, maybe that is something to consider. It really comes down to risk of how much you're willing to, the range of risk you're willing to take on.
And from Eliza OS perspective, do you see multiple different options for users that have that they can choose from the OS, from the framework that you guys have built?
Could you be a bit more?
So my understanding of Eliza OS is that you have multiple developers contributing to the framework.
Yes.
And so from a wallet management perspective, what do you see to be the most adopted method for the agent?
Yeah, people really love the ability to just have any, I'm going to pick on EVM wallet. You can just have and you allocate some funds that you want to be able to have this agent execute on your behalf. And usually what I've seen is folks set some sort of guardrails around these are the types of funds that they would want the agent to make transactions around. Maybe there's some other types of things that are considered out of scope. So then that's kind of how I've seen some people navigate it, because again, it comes down to if you're trying to do yield farming as an example, maybe you'll just say, okay, these are the only things that I'd like for you to. I know there's all the full world of possibilities that you can go after, but maybe that's considered out of scope.
Okay, let's take a step back and just consider these two worlds. We have the on-chain world and the off-chain world. From each one of your perspectives, which piece of the Web3 agent stack do you think is critical to keep off-chain, and which are obviously essential on-chain?
Can go. So Web 2, things that you want to probably keep off-chain, health data, like PII stuff. Most of us probably don't want that on-chain. Things that you do want on-chain might be things that need to be verified. If there's a specific decision that's made or a specific sort of anything that you want to be able to verify, it's beneficial to have on-chain. Anything that's considered PII, that's usually the simplest way I think of it.
Yeah, maybe if I add, I think I agree with you. Maybe another way to think about it is the on-chain or off-chain part is the part that is very heavy to run, especially in the AI domain. There are huge models, a lot of data, right? There is going to be a lot of computation that is needed. It's very difficult to bring those on-chain. But then the verification, the proof, those are the parts you want to bring on-chain and your wallet. So that's another separation that we typically do.
Yeah, I think this is the right way of looking at it. It's a very simple explanation where you think off-chain and you act on-chain, and the execution happens on-chain, and the brain lives off-chain because, you, as mentioned, you need the computational freedom to execute.
Also depends on the use case, right? So if, and in principle, I agree before I get to that. So keep as much off-chain as you can, because the agent, I think one thing which everyone's realizing as they're looking at crypto today is the software agent is a better user of crypto than the human agent. It's faster, it's actually able to handle more context and just generally better at dealing with the complexity. And it obviously, from that perspective, just interacts with anything that's on-chain as a sort of API. Now, when you think about use cases, let's say we want to have a DAO that collectively manages our funds, where the agent is basically the DAO on one end of the spectrum. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have some sort of user-owned agent, which we have a lot of them in Olas at the moment, where the user has a one-to-one relationship to the agent, so you delegate your funds to the agent, and then the agent on your behalf acts on your delegated funds. They're fundamentally different use cases, and they require different technical implementations. So I think in the user-owned case, like you don't need verified compute in many cases because you're controlling it. So unless you're happy with not happy with the provider you're plugging into, let's say for a large language model, or maybe you're even using a local one, what we're even talking about. On the other end of the spectrum, right, if I have an agent that acts as a DAO, let's say, then we critically care about is that thing that someone's claiming to be running actually the thing that we want them to be running? And then obviously we come back to the notion of smart contracts, which are just sort of much more basic agents with no proactivity, right?
Yeah, I'm going to add something here. There's also something to be said about alignment. It's kind of tangential, but still related to the centralized versus decentralized, where today we have all these hyperscaler training the model in their own data centers. And with company like Pluralis, Prime Intellect, News Research, we start to see decentralized training. And that's something that is super important for alignment, so that we can keep training these models also independently. And so part of the Web 2, Web 3 is the incentive mechanism of Web 3 that will allow us to keep running these models independently. And then eventually we'll have also decentralized agents that will be... there's a beautiful talk from Richard Sutton. He thinks we should not put guardrail on AGI because it's you cannot control it. There's no way to control an entity that is smarter than us. And so creating mechanism on chain might solve that problem by creating a decentralized agent that can run autonomously.
Very cool. Anyone want to add anything? No? Okay. Let's jump to the tooling of agents. So a very hot topic in the last probably about a year has been MCP. Maybe starting with yourself, Nisita, could you maybe share with the audience what you're seeing as use cases from Eliza's perspective for developers?
I think MCP fundamentally changes what interoperability and just being able to plug in a lot of different things, because you're kind of moving away from having to do integrations into every single thing, or having to worry about that. You're now just taking that context layer almost and just plug in whatever you want, which allows you to have a lot more freedom when it comes to your tech stack, in my opinion, and that unlock is very, very helpful. And Eliza OS is kind of built out in a similar way. We're very modular in how we're built, so you can kind of plug and play as you need to, which again allows teams as they're growing and as they're scaling to really play with whatever that they need to.
Yeah, I can add, maybe we released our MCP hub 2 months ago. So that's where we offer a variety of MCPs that could be used. In terms of what you ask, where we see the traction and where people would need, in the Web2 space, for example, the things let's say you want to pay with a stable coin, right? So payment services, that's where the agent needs to have access and do the transaction. That's where we see a lot of usage for such MCPs. In the Web3, a simple case is even a wallet delegation or wallet access. Right, these are the type of tools you want to get access, or maybe on-chain data. You need to have an MCP server that collects the on-chain data, gives you information about what is the most traded, let's say, meme coin in the past day. Right? So in terms of, these are kind of the initial specific in the crypto ecosystem that we see people would need the MCP servers. But I feel maybe, as you mentioned, there is going to be the drag and drop feature of it is going to be exciting. People can add any other MCPs and monetize it there.
Yeah, I think it's natural that it finds attention because it's a solution that standardizes something that people saw in the wild. I think what happens in crypto often we standardize something that no one actually has a problem for. But here, again, I would be careful with the hype. I mean, what is it, right? So basically, when you're building an agent where the large language model is at the core of it, or some similar kind of model, that makes choices, then effectively it's in a loop, right? And it calls various tools. And often what these tools do is like either provide access to some like specific data that's not part of the large language model training body, or it provides access to some other kind of API. And then you can standardize how people build access to those tools. And that's what's happened here. I think people like making it sound like this will be the standard for all time. I don't know. I mean, it's very early. There's obviously many if you look at agents as a literature, right? Agents isn't something new. So that's, I think sometimes people forget this today. Like multi-agent systems started in the 50s, or I don't know, even earlier. And many times, people developed various agent-to-agent communication protocols. I mean, there's an entire body of literature that could fill this room of different standards that are have been proposed in the past. Obviously, we're in a different time now. Agent adoption and agent building clearly has taken off, and we can see like tools like Cursor use it and others. So it's different to before, but I would just say to any builder, look at it as a tool and then see where it goes. And I think the interesting other standard is obviously A2A from Google, which I think they now passed to the Linux Foundation, although I'm not 100% sure. Again, that for me also falls a bit under the same category. It's like trying to standardize like how agents could discover each other and then kind of communicate with each other, which is definitely like a key problem. But is it going to be that exact standard? Like, who'll know? I think it's more important to actually build an application and then see which one of those help you.
Could one of you explain to the audience what A2A is? So agent to agent, how does it change from Web 2 to Web 3 agents communicating with each other as we move to a more multi-agent orchestration layer?
I'll take it. We did 2 workshops, one on MCP and one on A2A. And MCP, by the way, from 3 months ago to today, changes so much. Before was like stateful, now is also stateless. So it improved like very rapidly. And A2A came out probably 2 months ago or something like that. And the concept of A2A is to integrate one agent to another agent, where the concept of MCP is to integrate a tool to an agent. But really, you can use both interchangeably, and the tool can be an agent. How that works for Web 3, all of this is Web 2. There's no really, I can't think of a Web 3 application for this. Maybe you have some?
Well, we released one. Maybe I can tell you one example. So one example, let's say from natural language, let's say you have a trading strategy in mind. You want to go to automated trading, right? So in that case, you can think about you talk to your super agent, it passes it through your coding agent, right? So there are many coding agents, generate a Python code, even you can do the verification. Then with that Python code, you go to a deployment agent, meaning that if you want to deploy it, find the compute, the resources, the tool, which is going to be integration with your wallet, and creating a wallet, and becomes now automated trading agent that is deployed. And that, I think, is a very good example where in Web3 you can do it, in Web 2, it's very difficult unless you are in a very closed ecosystem. Maybe Robinhood wants to go that way, create it for their own ecosystem internally. But in Web 3, everything is open. Like we can connect DEXs to this ecosystem, different wallets, and go all the way again from human to fully automated hedge fund.
Yeah,
that could be.
I think you can do it in both. And really, what's the benefit or how does it even connect with crypto? So we have done A2A, but not the Google's A2A. So we haven't we have agents transacting with agents and agents discovering each other. And we called it A2A, and then eventually that standard came along. And now we're kind of in the process of seeing that we also compatible with that standard. We've also done MCP calling tools, but we didn't know of MCP until MCP came along, and so now we're standardizing around this. Because, as I said before, if you start building agent solutions, either you have like agents purely calling tools, so you are effectively doing some version of it, and the question is, are you following the exact standard? And then the other thing is, if you're doing anything multi-agent, your agents start to interact with each other, so you're doing some form of A2A, and the question is, are you following the standard? Simply put. Now, what did we find? Why crypto and why is multi-agent systems useful? So, for instance, we have a use case. Again, starts always with like something one actually needs, right? So we have users who run agents locally, and in order for them to use those agents, it's really important that the UX is great, right? So what you don't want is if the user has to set up their agent with like 101 API keys that they need to get from all sorts of places to even get started. And one thing we found is that we can basically abstract various tools and various other agents, which wrap tools, with simply doing crypto payments. And that's anyone who has heard about X402 or H402. We're effectively doing that, but also we haven't standardized around it yet, so now we're in the process of also making it compatible with these standards. But effectively what we're doing is like one agent needs access to a tool, they programmatically call it with a crypto payment, and they get access to it. Or one agent needs something from another agent, they programmatically call it and get access to it. And that's what we've been doing since 2023, with over 5 million transactions from these agent-to-agent transactions. And really, it starts with the user experience. You can then just onboard a user. We are currently working on getting them to onboard straight from the credit card into their crypto wallet. But right now, it's still like you need to onboard from your crypto wallet. But at least after that, in order to access all these tools, all these other agents, you no longer need anything else but your crypto wallet, because that takes care of it.
Anyone want to say anything else on that? No?
I'd agree with what Tassin's saying.
Okay, cool. So we have 3 minutes left. Let's do a lightning round. So for each one of you, by 2030, what is one thing an everyday user can do with an on-chain agent that is not possible today? Maybe it's possible, but it hasn't been built yet.
Okay, so the way I would think of it is most of us grow up thinking about investing, whether it's like, high interest savings, that sort of stuff. I think it'll just be a baseline where everybody will just have a personal agent based on their risk appetite that is already preset. Similar to like in a traditional world, you would have like, you manage funds that let you pick and choose like when are you going to, retire, and like, what is your risk appetite and that sort of stuff. Kind of like that from a user experience standpoint, but that's like embedded into your wallet, which is going to be essentially like you're not having to think. You're just setting the thing and it's just taking care of it. It's taking care of whether it's yield farming, whether it's, maybe making investments in specific types of funds, because it won't just be crypto by then, by 2030. I'm hoping it's broader than that. So I think financially speaking, it would enable everybody to have a slightly different set of levers than maybe people are used to today.
Yeah, I can add. So maybe from my side, the way I see maybe the way that the AI technology is transitioning, right? There was the model excitement last year. Right now we are talking about the agents. I think the next wave is around the super agent or super app, right? So you see, for example, XAI, they say XAI is going to be your ultimate app. I think the same thing, Meta is also thinking about having Meta AI as the ultimate app. What it would mean is that there is one place you go there and you don't need to think about what are the other apps, what are the other tools, anything you want to use. So in that sense, I think that's going to be the next thing coming, right? So it's going to be one super app. Maybe there is going to be a variety of them that you can choose from, handles everything in your daily life, right? But then the opportunity here for us is that that layer is the orchestration layer. And Web3 is great for open orchestration, right? So we can maybe offer that ultimate app as a decentralized alternative to the Web2 apps. So that's where I would say by 2030 is tangible.
That's great. Nisita's vision of 2030, like personalized agents for everybody, we have it today, 2025, June. You can go and get yourself a personalized agent that does personalized treasury management for your risk parameters, for your capital requirements, that only acts for you and for you only. This is ready today, and it's being used by thousands of users of ours. And these thousands of users, we have like a huge amount, this is like 59%, that likes to personalize their agents, that wants to say, my risk capital, my risk appetite is XYZ%, I want to use this protocol, I want to use that protocol. So we're already moving into this hyper-personalized agents trend that is keeping up with the global tech. I think the next step is every person having a swarm of agents that works for them. So right now we have like a one agent to one person enabled at Giza, but very sooner it's going to be like an array of agents working for you tirelessly, growing your capital, protecting your capital, hedging your DPEG risks while you're swiping your coffee and with your debit card, and all of these things are, I think, very much reasonable and attainable.
Yep. 2030 is a very distant date if you think about when we started and where we are today. I think there's so many paradigm shifts that are going to happen in the next few years. One is agent-to-agent payments. They're going to become ubiquitous and they're going to become abstracted. So Web3 is going to be like a poly market where you just use it, you don't know it's on crypto. So that's one. Another thing would be we're so mentally stuck on the human speed where, for example, governance proposal are 2 weeks because you end up on the weekend calling someone and be like, hey, sign this proposal or it's going to we're going to have liquidations. And with AI agents running on chain, you have two things. You have determinism, and so you can create a full state machine where you can have flash loans and all sorts of probably new discovery there, as well as streaming. So we're moving from signing a proposal and receiving voting to something that is closer to a streaming, probably with Futarki in the middle as well.
Yeah, at Olas we always in the team say we're building agents that you can own for health, wealth, and well-being. We talked about the wealth part. It's kind of obvious when you're in crypto. I think on the health side, there's an interesting, like, crypto adoption versus other sectors. You always have to think, like, why would it happen in crypto, right? And like and usually it has something to do with regulatory arbitrage or some user-specific behavior that can't happen elsewhere, because generally speaking, Web2 moves very fast. And I think on the health side, there's interesting questions there, but I'm not an expert, so I won't make any prediction. On the social side, last year, we started an accelerator and we put out this ask for like some social applications that leverage like agents and crypto. And now there's a team, they're building a dating app, and I think people immediately think, okay, it's a sort of kind of Tinder for agents, and I mean it can be, and that's interesting. But what I think is even more interesting is this idea, okay, there's several billion people on this planet, and ultimately it's pretty random how we find the people we interact with, right? It's based on where we grow up and like where we happen to be mostly and where we work. There's so many connections to be made that you're just not making because you could never feasibly talk to these 7 billion or 8 billion people, but your agents can. So now imagine a world where you have like agents kind of going out talking to other agents on your behalf and making like new connections for you, which you can then spin forward. I think that's, I don't know who will build that and how, but someone's going to build it. I'm 100% sure.
Amazing. Guys, let's give a round of applause to the panelists. I think we have like 1 minute left. Does anyone have a question they want to ask any of the panelists? No? Okay, let's wrap up. Thank you, guys.